All right, everyone. Uh, Up next is gonna be Spyro, Year of the Dragon. 80% is gonna be Becky, Wojowu, and Rui with commentator from Dear Tuber. So that should be getting ready in a few minutes. So we're just gonna wait for them here. Yeah, I just want to take a special moment to thank everyone for showing up. This has already been a stream that surpassed our expectations. The new content we've made, everyone seems to have enjoyed it, and it just seems like everyone's having a good time, and that's all we can ask for. And speak of the devil, they're the runners. Hello.
Hi.
Hi.
Hello.
All right. If you guys are down to start immediately, I can count you down, and then Tuber you can take over. Is that fine by you guys?
Yep.
Yeah.
All right. Ready? 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, go. All right. Good luck everyone in the race. Tuber, good luck with the commentary, and I'll see you all in Quiz Corner later.
All right. Thank you, Luca. So this is Spyro 3 any percent. This is a very fun category. It has a ton of skips that you'll be seeing continuously throughout the run. So let's just talk about the general goals and what the runners are aiming to do. First things first, we don't need gems. We don't really care about those. So the runners are not going to be really doing any collection of any kind. Primarily what's going to be happening is we need all the end of level eggs from every level in every homeworld to be able to get us to the next boss fight. So the first thing that runners are going to do is they're going to go straight into Sunny Villa. You're going to see that Becky's actually a little bit further ahead of the other runners, and I believe that is because she's on PSTV, so she has a little bit of faster loads. And all you're going to see the runners do is just hook it to the end of the level. They're going to get the end of level eggs, and once the end of level eggs is received, the person who gives the egg is going to exit through the end of level portal, and they're going to run over to, I guess, a little contraption, depending on what homeworld you're in. I believe the first one is a hot air balloon, and that hot air balloon will take Spyro to the boss fight. And we're going to continually do that until we get to the final homeworld, in which runners then will find a way to skip into the sorceress. But for now, let's focus on this homeworld. So Becky is now exiting the first level, and the other runners, Wojo and Rui, not too far behind. The interesting thing about this category is that there's a lot of different ways to get to the end of level. So hopefully throughout the run, we'll see a good diverse amount of routes that runners can take. Okay, so now what you're going to see the runners do is they're using a little technique called Whirlwind Bypass, in which they use that super glide to get out of bounds and then enter a swim state out of bounds, so that way they can swim in the air. Now this is important because, as you can see, there's no way that they're able to collect the eggs, namely because it's slow, to be able to get into all the homeworld portals. So instead what we do is when a level is locked, this happens in Spyro 2 as well, the entry portal is below the level. So by swimming in air and exploring below the homeworld of the, I guess just exploring below the homeworld, you can see the entry to each individual level down there. So we enter the levels through there in this category, because then you don't need to collect eggs. We're going to be doing this a few times. In this homeworld specifically, we do that to get into, let's see, seashell shores, molten lava, and I believe that's it. Oh, and we will also do that to enter Sheila. Now, it seems like Becky is taking a little bit of a different route. She went into Cloud Spires first. and now is heading over to Seashell Shores. Oh my god. There's a little bit of technical difficulty. Okay, great. Now I'm more up to date with everyone. So there are a lot of proxies that you can do in this category, but they're also, obviously proxies are hard, difficult. So I'm going to try and point out who's doing what proxy when. It seems like Rui just tried to do the boar proxy in molten lava, but that's a little difficult to do, but it's okay. There's a lot of backups that he's able to do. He'll be able to reach the end of level no matter what. And Wojo is now collecting the end of level egg in Cloud Spires. And he's going to pause and quit out. As you can see, very different in all the routing. I'm trying to point out really quickly what each person is doing. Becky is going to be, I'm sorry, it looks like Wojo is going to be entering another portal from out of bounds. Let's see if he'll go in this level for the boar proxy. Becky is also entering molten from out of bounds, so hopefully we'll get to see one of them do the proxy. Rui's going for like the craziest proxy. He got it, but it turns out he turned a little incorrectly and was not able to get to the height he needed to. Becky got a proxy off of the board. That's called an animation proxy. That's both what Becky and Rui are trying to do right now. Essentially, what they're going to aim to do is charge at a very specific point while an enemy is doing a certain animation. And because of that, they'll get an additional velocity as well as height, allowing them to get to places that usually would take more time to get to. But unfortunately, Becky was not able to get enough height, so she'll have to go through the level normally. Since there's not really any major movement abuses you can do in this category, if they're not able to do the proxy that is available to them in each level, usually what you're going to see them do is just use the charge jump to abuse movement a little bit to beat the game in a casual way, but faster. Okay. And I believe Wojo is now the first person who's entering Sheila's Alp, along with Rui. This is a very lackadaisical level. Essentially, there's some goats you need to help get to the end of the level. Their house is being invaded by enemies. However, only one of them gives you the end of level egg, so I guess that's the only one we're really going to care about today. In order to get the end of level eggs, there are certain enemies that need to be defeated. So you're going to see them, especially at the end of the level, all enemies must be defeated, but there's some other specific ones that we're going to kill along the way, just to make sure that the person you are guiding through the level will follow you and correctly award you that egg. And now we see Becky as well is heading into Sheila's Alp. I think this is the first time since Sunny Villa we're all just about in the same place, which is nice. Now the really good thing about specifically Sheila's Alp is that we also don't need to collect any gems. There's a lot of places throughout the run where usually you would have to buy in. Specifically for this category, we're talking about Sergeant Bird, we're talking about, we're talking about Sergeant Bird. Basically all the side characters you would usually need to purchase from money bags, but that out of bounds stuff we're going to be doing, we don't really need to be worrying about that. And now we're going to head into our first boss, which is Buzz. Buzz is pretty straightforward. You're going to need to push him continually out into the lava, and then Sheila is going to help us by, I guess, like slamming him into the lava to deal damage. what you're going to see them do is they're going to stand in a very specific spot near the edge and then turn the camera slightly. Basically, what this is going to do is that when Buzz starts rolling, you're in a very specific spot. He's going to get to you, and because of the camera as well as your placement, he's just going to stop. So usually that rolling animation lasts quite a bit of time. It also will leave Buzz somewhere that's not close to the edge. But by doing this, we can keep Buzz very close to the edge, and this will allow the runners to hit him back into the lava as fast as possible and make this boss a lot quicker. And wow, that is a perfect sync right now from Wojo and Rui as we have Becky just starting the fight. This is good. Nice competitive race. So I believe both runners now are going to first enter this Bianca text box and then going to do a little thing called bridge swim. So you're going to see them head over to the left. They're going to go underneath this bridge. They're going to jump very specifically. And then as you can see, that water is going to move up and down. So the runners are going to aim to do a swim at a very specific point when the water is, I believe it's when the water is rising. And while Spyro is swimming into the bridge, it's going to push him out of bounds a little bit. And if the water's high enough and they charge, they're actually going to enter swim in air. Okay, we have Rui getting it. Oh, and Wojo gets it as well. That's great. So this race is still very close between the two of them. And now that they're swimming in air, they're going to charge straight over to Sergeant Bird, which is the only level in this home world where you would need to purchase gems to purchase a way into it. But again, you know, since the portals are stored underground, we're just going to do it that way. Now, Sergeant Bird has a lot of interesting movement. And by interesting, I mean annoying. But there is something really cool that you're able to do. If you hold down L and R to control the camera, you can actually move a lot faster and with a lot more ease. And you're going to see them do that throughout the level. Essentially, what Sergeant Bird is aiming to do here is a lot of escort missions in this game. So he's going to get this other bird to the end of the level. From there, we'll get the end of the level egg. Now Becky is just finishing up the Buzz fight and will be aiming to do bridge swim herself. There's a little bit of, I believe, killing one or two key enemies here in order to make sure that the escort goes through. But other than that, Sergeant Bird is a pretty straightforward level. And Becky gets bridge swim super fast. Let's go. So now we're all just barely in the same spot again, which is nice. And we have Wojo and Rui leaving Sergeant Bird. They're going to head over to Spooky Swamp. Now from here, they're going to use this ladder to climb up. They can't get into Spooky Swamp, but what they can do is get onto that bridge that's right behind them. They're going to jump onto that. From there, they're going to jump out of bounds using a charge jump as well as the additional height. And they're just going to turn themselves to underground, and like I've been saying countless times, anytime there's a portal in this game that requires to be unlocked, it is stored underneath the level. So that's how we're going to get into this one. And there is a proxy in this level, and I personally find this proxy to be one of the easier ones to do. So let's see if either of them are going to go for it. Okay, so Wojo gets a small proxy, but unfortunately that's not enough. But luckily, especially this level, I think that there's a lot of casual gamers who are going to find the backup speed strat pretty easily. There's a spot right here in the level that you're able to charge jump into. If you take damage, you can make it to the end of the level pretty fast. Now we're going to get Thelonious Glitch. No, we're not. That's unfortunate. I enjoy Thelonious Glitch, but that's fine. It doesn't really save any time. It's just a fun little thing. So they'll be exiting that level, and Becky will be on her way to join them over in Spooky Swamp pretty fast. Once exiting Spooky Swamp, we're going to get back onto this bridge immediately. And we're going to charge jump out of bounds again. And from there, we're going to enter one of the out of bounds portals for... What is that? That is bamboo. Something I haven't quite mentioned yet that is pretty important is that because this game is played on PlayStation 1, there are quite a few areas in which to save, I believe it's to save memory. They do not create collision within the level. So that way we can save memory, and for us it's good because we can skip things. Let's see if Wojo is able to get the proxy here. This is like a, call this a squeeze proxy. He's going to put himself into this little corner right here, and think of him like a bar of soap. He gets pushed into a place he shouldn't be, and the game's response to that is to kind of squeeze him out of there. And because of the angle that he does it at, Wojo's going to gain a lot of height, and that's going to save him a lot of time. We're able to just go straight to the end of the level, and unfortunately Rui was not able to get that proxy, but there are some other ways. There's some other animations you're supposed to go through in that level, but instead of helping all the pandas throughout the level, Rui just uh, use some more precise jumps to get to the end of the level without having to worry about that. Okay, so from here, Rui's going into Enchanted, and I believe that Wojo will be following him very closely behind. We use that Fireball power-up, so that way we can hit the target with the Fireball. It's helpful because it skips that text box we have from Hunter, usually to hit that target to open the Enchanted Tower portal. We have to get a little ball from Hunter, and why do that when there's a perfectly good... Ooh, wait, Wojo just hit a very nice proxy. So essentially that's another time when Spyro is squeezed into an area he's not supposed to be in. This time, instead of using an animation that occurs normally through the game, we purposely flame an enemy into a corner, and then we charge Spyro into that enemy, and from there, I did not tell people. I don't know whose volume is on right now, but big apologies to the headphone users. I don't know why that's so loud. It's quite bothersome. But it seems like this race is still really close. Becky's now making her way through Bamboo. She'll be collecting the end of portal as Wojo and Rui make their way over to Icy Peak. There is a very precise jump here that you can do. We'll see if either runner is able to get it. Since it's early at the level, they'll probably go for it at least once or twice. Essentially, we're going to stand on a piece of scenery right here, and looks like Wojo is going to opt not to go for that. Instead, he's going to go for a different angled one, which is a slight easier. Rui is going to go for the longer one that's a little bit more challenging. And he's able to get it. So by standing on that scenery and doing a very precise charge jump, we're able to essentially skip to the end of level, which is where I believe that is the Thieves challenges, and we just climb up those stairs and go straight to the end of level egg. And with that, we have collected all the end of level eggs. All our buddies are here to help us create this little helicopter thing. We're going to take off into the next boss, which I believe this is not... I do not recall the name of this boss. If someone is able to help me, I would appreciate that. But this boss is definitely a step in the a step in the harder direction in terms of the boss difficulties in this game. I tend to struggle with this one. Thank you so much, Desert Monkey. This is Spike. But luckily, unlike other categories you'll be seeing this weekend, Spyro 3 has a difficulty that's based on the amount of eggs that the player has. So usually this boss is a lot harder. Hitting him causes less damage, but because we're doing any percent and we're skipping a large portion of the eggs, we're essentially on like an easy mode for this boss right now. So what does that mean? It means that this boss is nowhere near as annoying. Essentially, this boss has two different phases. The first phase, you'll see some lava balls spawn from outside the stage, and then from there, you'll see Sergeant Bird help us out a little bit by dropping some power-ups into the boss fight, and we want to grab those power-ups before Spike does, because if Spike grabs him, he gets to use the power up. We don't want that because it's annoying. But no real difficulties here from either Rui or Wojo, which to be expected. They're both very talented runners. We're gonna head straight into our third homeworld. And Becky's now gonna make her way into Spike. Okay, so the first out of bounds that we go for is to get into Bentley. Um, what you're gonna see the runners do is they jump out of bounds, and there's two portals there. There's one for Honey Speedway and there's one for Bentley. So they're gonna fly underneath the level in a very specific way to not only get into Bentley, but to avoid that Honey Speedway. They're gonna use the egg room that you see there as a way to kind of be a marker as to where they should be. And they both successfully get into Bentley first try, which is very nice. Bentley is just another escort mission, as I believe just about every single um, side mission, side character level we see in any percent is. Um, so essentially, we're going to kill some seals, make sure that we get another. I'm sorry, we were able to get our little buddy here through the level okay, so that way he gives us the end of level egg and eventually uh, help us get to the next boss. Hey, shoutouts to Randy for the raid. And Becky is able to make it through Spike with little to no difficulty. She's going to be heading to join us in that's Evening Lake. Bentley is probably one of my lesser favorite side characters. Nothing against him, I just feel like his movement feels a little weird, specifically with his jumping. I think it's very easy for you to get caught in movement. I don't know if I've explained this yet, but you do see the runners occasionally do this thing where they will look away from where they're jumping, and while they're jumping, they're going to turn their characters to face where they are jumping. And by doing that little spin jump right there, you are able to get a little bit of additional height, which is always nice. Let's see if Becky's able to get into Bentley. Wow, first try. Okay, I think when I was trying to learn this category, I was never able to get that trick down, and I think the angle in which you have to fly in is very specific. I would always go left of the egg, but it seems like the runners here are opting to go right. Guess that's easier. Good for me to know. Uh, Now we are in uh, Frozen Altars. There's a few different proxies you're able to do here. Um, I did not see which one Rui went for, but I assume because he got to the end of the level very fast, he went for Mammoth, which is good. Mammoth requires that you hit the Mammoth, and when he's in his death animation, you basically force Spyro into his dead body, and you jump when Spyro is fully inside of it, and that causes like an increase in Spyro's velocity. Gets some height out of that, which allows him to reach end of level faster. And now we're going to go out of bounds again to get into Fireworks Factory. Um, Essentially, we're going to continually kind of come back to this point a few times in this run to get us through the part of the mountain there that lacks collision. Um, I don't know if anyone's going to try for Firefly. Firefly is notorious for being an insanely precise proxy. You need not only is the path that the Firefly takes a little tricky, but you do need a large amount of height out of that. Rui's going to opt to skip that, which I think is what most runners would do. We're just going to run through the level casually here. Will Wojo attempt it? No, I don't blame him. is very hard trick. And we have Becky leaving. I'm sorry, we have Becky entering Frozen Altars. Like I said before, there's a lot of different ways that a runner could choose to do this level. Let's see what she will do. She's gonna attempt for the Mammoth proxy. Okay, well, looks like now she's opting to get around this ice block right here and away by freezing a few of the enemies, which is good. It's definitely faster than entering that room to melt that block of ice. And she'll use a series of charge jumps that will allow her to get to the end of level without needing a proxy. Without doing it the casual way either. So now we are in Lost Fleet with Rui. Rui's going to try and... Oh my god. Okay, so there's a way you can get to the end of level faster there by essentially, if you glide into those enemies while they're in the animation of being flamed for the first time, they do a little push animation. So if Rui is gliding during that moment, it would push Rui up to the ledge that is right there. But unfortunately, the timing on that is so precise, and he was not able to get it, so he'll have to go through the level in a casual manner. And at the end of this level, we're going to see the runners enter a zombie state. So what does this mean? It means that the players are purposely going to take damage, and right before they die, we're going to see them pause. Unfortunately, Rui barely misses the pause there, so he'll try again. Luckily, still has a lot of lives, so nothing to worry about. We're going to pause, and on the same frame that we take damage there, we're going to exit the level. Now, by doing that, the game is a little confused. They're not sure if he's dead or alive, so we refer to this as a zombie state. Essentially, what that means is that now, when exiting the level, since we are in water, the game will not allow Spyro to change states. So when Spyro leaves the water, it will not put him into a non-swimming state. He will continue swimming in the water. We're going to use that as a way to get into the Charmed Ridge portal faster. It seems like Rui got it pretty fast. Wojo got it in 1 or 2 attempts, which is great. Now Becky is not too far behind. She'll be going into Lost Fleet now to try that trick out for herself. Charmed Ridge also has a few proxies that we can attempt. It seems like Rui's going to opt to try the last one. Wow, that was a really good proxy. And now we can jump on some of the scenery that is around here and use the fact that some of the walls collisions there are not there. We have Wojo attempting the same proxy, but unfortunately seemed to hit an area that did have collision, so he's gonna get a second chance though to try that as Rui really starts to break away with the lead here. Now going back to Evening Lake. And he'll be going to our first super hard RNG level portion of the run, which is Scorch. Essentially what Scorch will be aiming to do here. Scorch does this thing where he flies around and enters different animations, and some animations require that some animations involve the spawning of enemies. Some animations will involve Scorch just sending a bunch of I don't even know what I would refer to that as. I guess some like bomb-esque things throughout the level. Some energy balls throughout the level that would cause damage. So we want him to do the any energy ball animation because that is shorter than spawning the enemy. And we also are looking towards Bentley. Bentley is going to be hitting us some power-ups. There are some red rockets and there are some green rockets. Green rockets are just objectively slower than the red rockets. We're awarded 1 green rocket every single time that we get that, and we are awarded 50 red rockets when Bentley awards us that. And the one red rocket is equivalent to one green rocket in damage, I believe. And it's also faster. So we just always want red rockets. Rui there didn't get the greatest RNG, but it definitely was good enough. We'll take it. Seems like he only needed to use one green rocket, so that's fine. We have Wojowu, who has yet to receive a red rocket, which is unfortunate. Oh, no, that's another green one. Just sad. We don't like that. We like red here. And Becky's now having to do the casual way of Charmed Ridge. She is going to hit that enemy a little bit early. If you're near that enemy when you kill him, he's holding that door closed. But if you're near him when you kill him, then there's an animation, so she's going to use the Fireball power-up to avoid that. We have Rui going for Helmet Proxy. So essentially, on this helmet right here, there is a way that you can charge Spyro into a specific part of it, and gives Spyro an increased velocity to get up to these mountains over here. Now Rui's going to try and do a series of precise jumps. He gets the first one, and now the second one. From here, he can jump into the Sorceress fight, which is stored right behind the room, which contains the door to the Sorceress, and he'll be entering that fight. Wojowu is now going to try the helmet proxy himself. By the way, that's like a very hard trick. So good on Rui for getting that first try. He's in the Sorceress fight now. Shoutouts to JT, who has written a paste bin that's insanely long on how this fight functions. But essentially, what happens here is that we have Agent 9 hitting down some cannons, tanks, or UFOs to us. The first phase will be cannons, the second phase will be tanks, and the final phase will be UFOs. But there's a way that we're able to skip that third phase because the tank is faster. So we'll see if Rui's able to do that here. As Wojowu is aiming to do his helmet proxy now. Let's see, he's going to position himself very carefully. And he gets the... Wow, that's a big one. Okay, so he's actually able to skip the first of the precise jumps, which is good, because I personally think that's the hardest one. So now he only has to do one precise jump on that mountain to enter the Sorceress. And he'll be doing that fight now as we wait for Becky to defeat Scorch. And we have Rui entering tank phase. Having a little bit of difficulty getting the hits, so instead of skipping that UFO phase, he's just gonna hop on that. And when he gets a hit on the Sorceress, there is a very specific way he's going to be looking to move. The way that the Sorcerer moves after she gets hit is very predictable. So he's going to be able to position himself to get another early hit. And we have our first finish right there. That is time. And that's in 32-22. So good on Rui. That's a solid run. We have Becky now heading over to the helmet in Midnight Mountain to try her hand at helmet proxy. Let's see how she'll be able to do. She's going to line herself up very specifically. She's going to charge into that area that'll squeeze her out. And she got a squeeze, but it doesn't seem like her angle was quite good enough, so she's going to set herself up a second time. The good thing about helmet proxy is that it's very easy just to give it a second go. Can't say that for a lot of the proxies that occur in this run. And we have Wojowu now hopping on the UFO. Unfortunately, he was not able to skip the tank phase either. And Becky gets an even better proxy and does not really need to do any precise jump. She's just going to head straight into the Sorceress because she's a boss. And she'll be able to do this fight now. I think that there's a chance that if Becky gets enough early hits with the cannon, essentially what she's going to aim to do, right, with the cannon, she's going to hit Sorceress once, and then do a series of a few more precise cannon shots to assure that the Sorceress will walk into them, so that way she can get more hits off than she's supposed to during this phase. And of course we want that because it's fast. And Wojowu's now in the last phase of Sorceress. It's like his time will be coming up very shortly. And just one more hit. And that's time for him. GG to Wojowu in 34-10, another really solid run. Let's see how Becky's able to do. She's going to run over to that glass cannon. Gonna try and position it correctly so that way she can get it. Hits. She's able to get one. That's good. Now she's going to try and position herself to get large amount of tank hits. So essentially what we're going to do there with the tank, right? We're going to hit the sorceress and try and predict where the sorceress is going to move. And just move the tank slightly so that way, instead of being forced to hop off the tank, we can just continually hit the sorceress for more damage. Unfortunately, we were not able to see that today. But it's fine because these sorceress fights have been solid anyway. Becky's just going to move her UFO in a very specific manner to get these hits on the sorceress, and her time will be coming up on the last hit of sorceress. And GG to Becky. That looked like it was 35-29. So wow, we all finished within I guess 3 minutes of each other. That's super solid, especially with the category that has so much variance between every single level, the amount of routes you can take, the amount of proxies that you can opt for. So GG to all the runners.
Spyro, you've just defeated the sorceress, rescued the dragon eggs, and restored freedom to the lost dragon worlds. What do you
And coming up next, we will have
Perhaps a nice vacation?
a segment of Luca's Quiz Corner, this time perfectly planned right after our Spyro Year the Dragon any percent. We'll be having our Spyro 3 themed Quiz Corner featuring Wed, Rui, and Charity, and let us not forget Luca himself.
And you forgot TK, but bless you for trying.
I forgot TK, he's not in the schedule, so that's
I checked
unfortunate.
the schedule. Disgusting, bad moderator. Boo. But yeah, that was a good race. I'm really glad Roy got a PB. That's genuinely nice for him. So that's really nice to see. But yeah,
Wait,
we'll
that was
see
a
you...
PB?
Yeah, it should
A
be.
Spyrothon PB? Oh my lord, we love to see it.
Unless I'm just tripping. Let's just pretend it is. It is a PB. Good job, Roy, and a PB if you got it. But yeah, we'll be back with Quiz Corner really soon because we are a bit behind schedule. So we're gonna try to speed a few more segments in here. So, yep, we'll see you guys in a few.